first thing that I'm going to do for this Diva creation, I am going to cut this hair because I am going to show you a way how I make the most of hair while I'm doing these Diva creations. Hair could be a little costly, and I want you to get the most out of using the hair to create your Diva hairstyles. All right, so I'm just going to cut this, and for the bottom pieces of this style, I am going to be using shorter pieces. So after I've cut this, I'm going to cut a section in half again, just because I want the bottom pieces of this Diva, like right around her neckline area. It doesn't need such long pieces, so I'm just going to cut this again. And trust me, we'll need all of this because she does have a full head of hair. And by the way, those of you who are wondering, I used to be a hairstylist in my younger days. And so I've just taken what I know from doing hair, styling hair, into doing 3D art, which is really wonderful for creating some of these pieces. So what I'm going to do is start by gluing the hair to the Diva, the image of the Diva. So I just basically put the glue where I want it. And for now, I'm just going to go ahead and cover up her earrings because I am going to be creating earrings for her later on for part of her jewelry. So basically, you're just applying a little bit of pressure. Remember that this glue is hot, so you want to be super, super cautious when you're using the hot glue. And I suggest that if you are wanting a little child to help you with this project or to see what you're doing, show them the safe way of using the hot glue gun. So I wait a couple seconds and just apply a little pressure, and voila, the hair just sticks to the image. And I would do this for the entire project. And you don't have to worry too much if some of the hair is fraying. I do want to have that look at the end where it's curly, but it's like a more like a curly fro kind of thing. So that's the look that I'm trying to accomplish at the end of this. So just a little bit of glue that you need to put, and then just apply a little pressure after a couple seconds, and you should be good to go. I will show you in a minute what it looks like after I've done a couple pieces. So just a little dab of glue, and you should be good to go. Apply a little pressure, and then don't worry if it seems like it's a little long. We are going to give her a little trim at the end. All the straight ends, we'll be able to fix those at the end. And don't worry too much about glue marks either, because we could also fix that at the end. Once you get all the hair in, I will show you what I usually do when I see glue marks. Okay? All right. So a dab of glue. Put the hair where you want the glue. And wait a couple seconds. And just apply a little pressure. And there you have it. Do the same. I'm going up her hairline. A dab of glue where you want the hair, and then wait a couple seconds and just apply a little bit of pressure. And the reason why I like to wait a couple seconds is because the glue is not as hot and you're able to kind of form or add pressure to the hair so that it won't move. As you could tell that it didn't move. And you just keep going until you're finished with the entire head of hair. And that's it. So all I'm doing is going up the side of her hair now, or head. And then I'm just going to cut as I go, like any little excess that's hanging out, because I want it to be neat. And this is what it looks like. And so you try to cover up all the spaces so there'll be no spaces by the time we're finished. And I'm loving this color that she's wearing. So I'm just continuing on the other side. As you could tell, this is pretty tedious, but it's well worth it at the end. When you see how beautiful this diva is, then you'll be like, it's all worth it for the hair. Hair to have taken however long it took. So I'm just going to cut this piece just a little bit. Sometimes you may have to do that just to kind of get the curls back. And I just simply wrap it. And then we continue. This is almost like doing hair, actual doing hair. And this is what's so satisfying for me. When I do these pieces, I actually think back on my glory days of doing hair and being a hairstylist. I get to create and do whatever I want. And most times the clients, they are looking for something new, innovative, stylish. And so that gave me the chance to be as creative as I want to be. And that's what I enjoyed most about being a hairstylist. So in my pieces, I get to be that same way, be as creative as I want to be. And so you would see that most of my pieces, I'm known to do hair and also to do hats to feature hats in my pieces, my 3D pieces, which I absolutely, absolutely love. So all you're doing is putting the glue wherever you want on the image. And I'm going to just show you what she looks like. And then I just fill in the spots with hair. Apply a little pressure, and that's it. Making sure that I fill in because I don't like to see spaces. So I'm making sure that I fill in the areas that I see have spaces. And don't worry about, like I said before, don't worry about, if there are glue marks and stuff. Right now, that's the least of our worries. All we want to do is just make sure that the areas are all filled. We could do several things. We have options for getting rid of the glue marks, and I'll share that at the end. So we'll just continue to fill her head up, the image, and with hair, and then we'll see what happens after. So we're getting ready and putting in the final pieces of our hair, and I'm loving this reddish purplish color. It's just giving life to this style. So I'm just going to put a little bit more here right in this section, kind of give that red tint right in this area. And again, as you could tell, I'm applying a little bit of pressure to the glue, hot glue that is, And then I'm just going to, all the excess hair, I'm just going to cut. She's all finished. Her hair is all glued in now. And so what I'm going to do is just look it over to see like where I may need to add a few more pieces, and also to check to see what areas may have like the glue, little glue pieces that needs to be cut off. That's one of the options that I told you about at the beginning. You could cut them, or if you had paint, which is the same color as the hair, you could also use paint. Like when I do black hair, that's what I would do. If there were some glue marks and I didn't feel like cutting, I may paint it, paint those glue marks. So let me show you what she looked like before I start to cut. This is what she looks like with all her hair in now. I am just going to do a little trim, nothing major, but just to so that I could see her eyes a little bit more. And then any other part that needs to be just clip a little bit, I would do that. No. So all I'm doing is just looking at her hair, kind of taking my fingers, and because you could actually tell what didn't adhere to the image. So this is your opportunity to kind of get that extra hair out, and then kind of look to see where it needs a little bit of cutting. I don't see much, but I just want to make sure that it's all right. I see a little bit of glue mark. I don't like to see glue mark on my work, so I'm just going to cut that a bit. And then, like I said before, I'm going to cut just a little bit from her, like a bang, just so I could see her eyes a little bit more. Nothing much, just so that it's more defined. I'll let you see it in a minute. I didn't cover up this area because I wanted to do her her earrings in this section. So I'm just looking at, see, just now there was a piece that just came out. That's what you'll find when you do this process. You kind of check to see what hair didn't get glued down, and so you can either glue it down or cut it out. Because her hair is so full, I could just simply cut it without having to glue anything else. And there may have been some glue. I'm just kind of making sure that I could get rid of that now before I go on to the rest. Like to do her jewelry and to do her clothing. Yeah. So just cutting a little bit. All right, so this is what she looks like now that I've cut. I'm kind of seeing some spaces, like right in this area. I'm going to see whether or not I want it to be that way or add a little bit more hair to her. I'm actually liking the way how she looks. I just need to cut a little bit more along the edges, just to kind of have her looking like really neat. Glue down whatever needs to get glued at this point before I move on to anything else. So at this point, I think I like what she looks like. So I am going to move on to the rest of the tutorial. which is we're going to do her jewelry, because I am going to need to put a little bit more hair. Like after I finish putting her jewelry on, I will put a little bit more hair in this area. And also I'm seeing up here that I need to put a little bit more hair. So let's do that. Let's work on her jewelry. By the way, if you're hearing snoring, my dog, Ari, she's here with me. So she snores like an adult. So if you hear her snoring, that's my little dog. Remember, this is also going to be a canvas diva. So I am going to be placing her on a canvas when she's all ready. And I'll show you how to also do that. So I cut her hair down a little bit. I'm just going to glue this part. Some hair I would like for it to be movable, but at this point I think that with her having so much hair, I could leave the top pieces so that they could move pretty easily, but on the sides and like on the bottom part of her head, I want to go ahead and glue that area. It just gives a little bit more neater feel for me. I think as I get better at doing these divas, there's certain things that I want to see, and neatness is one of those things. I just like for everything to be in place so that my clients don't complain, or they like the fact that it looks more realistic. So some part I would let it like move, certain parts of her hair, but then others I just don't like to leave that for chance. And then, especially with a style like this, see, like the top piece, I would leave that. I wouldn't glue this any further, just because I want it to be able to move a little bit. And that's it. All right, so the jewelry, this is how I make the jewelry. I have several options for making jewelry. Now with this hairstyle, I plan to use this fabric or material. So I am going to see in terms of what kind of jewelry, and I can let you see how I determine like what I'll use. I think because of her hair being so bright, I wanted to use something that's a little bit more printed and floral kind of. And so this is why I chose this.